is Valley News Live at 4.
We begin with breaking news this afternoon. A massive fire broke out at Maple Log Resort this morning. Take a look at this video behind me. You can see the flames shooting out of windows. Some people even told us they can see the smoke from several miles away. Maple Log, by the way, a cross-country ski resort in Becker County. It's near Callaway, Minnesota. The fire started shortly after 8:30 this morning. The cause is yet to be determined, but we do know the building has been ruled a total loss. This is the second major fire to happen at this lodge. Another destroyed the resort back in 1999. Valley News Team's Bailey Hurley is there. She'll bring us the latest on this tonight on Valley News Live at 5 and 6. New at 4, a 12-year-old boy is fighting for his life after authorities say he was shot by his uncle while hunting. Cass County Sheriff Tom Birch says they received the call about the hunting accident in rural Motley, Minnesota yesterday, just after 8 a.m. Deputies learned a family was on public land hunting squirrels when a 12-year-old was accidentally shot by his uncle. Deputies got the boy from the wooded area to a nearby road. He was then flown to a Twin Cities hospital with life-threatening injuries. Outside, another pretty mild day, but those types of days are numbered. First Alert Storm Team forecaster Summer Schnellbach joins us now live with your first look at the forecast. Summer.
Thank you, Justin, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on a Monday. What a beautiful scene here we have. This is on our Coronado Skycam zoomed in on the Red River. It's a little shaky. We do have a little bit of wind out there, but those colors are absolutely vibrant, and what a good way to start the week. Temperatures have been mild. All the areas that you see shaded in orange, that's where temperatures are in the 70s, right at 70 in Langdon, 71 in Devil's Lake, 72 in Jamestown and Oaks, just on the cusp of 70 in Grand Forks, sitting at 69. We're at 68 in Fargo and Fergus Falls. A little cooler with a lot more mid-60s, a few upper 60s in parts of northwestern Minnesota, 63 in Baudette, 68 in Wadena. As for satellite and radar, we've just got a few clouds towards the Sisseton Hills, a little bit of those moving up to the north, but that's about all we've got on satellite and radar for a Monday afternoon. What we do have is a bit of a breeze. It's out of the south for the most part, bringing in that warmer air, but quite gusty at times as well. This evening in Fargo, expect clear skies and just in more mild temperatures as well, as temperatures will only be dipping into the 50s instead of the 30s like the last couple nights. Talk about a cooler trend in just a few minutes.
Sounds like a plan. Thanks, Summer. New information on a story we first reported to you on Friday. A Democratic candidate for North Dakota's House District 24 has now dropped out of the race. 33-year-old Caitlin Huss was charged with simple assault last week. Valley City police officers were called to Boomer's Corner Keg on East Main Street just after 2:30 Friday morning. According to the police report, a man claims Huss punched him in the face and also ripped out some hair. Over the weekend, Huss announced she, quote, behaved in a manner unbefitting of my position of a candidate and unbecoming of my own personal standards of myself, end quote. Her name will still appear on the November 8th ballot, though Huss encourages voters to choose one of the other three candidates. You can read her full statement on the VNL News app. A bit of uneasiness at Schroeder Middle School this morning after a guardian of a student called to report weapons missing from their home. School administrators called the Grand Forks Police Department around 8 a.m. Officers responded, immediately started investigating. 2 handguns were missing from a home. They were found about 25 minutes later at another residence, not on school grounds. Police say there is no evidence to suggest the weapons were on campus at any point or that any threats were made to anyone, either in the school or in the community. The investigation, though, is still open. So far, no charges have been filed. If you know anything about what happened, you're asked to contact Grand Forks Police. Police in the FM Metro are looking for a man they say threatened to break into his ex-girlfriend's home and hurt her. Police say they found 28-year-old Richard Yelgan in South Fargo at some point last night, but he took off running. Then he drove off. There's no photo of him available, but police say Yelgan is a black man, about 5'5", last seen wearing a dark hoodie with the Rolling Stones logo on it. He could have changed. He also has several warrants out for his arrest, including domestic violence. If you know him or where he is, you're asked to call 911. A woman is being treated for serious injuries after being hit by an Amtrak train in downtown Fargo. This happened just before 4 yesterday morning at the railroad crossing in the 500 block of North Broadway between Cowboy Jack's and the Empire Liquor Store. Police say the crossing arm was working and the train used its emergency horn to alert its passing. Police are not releasing the name of the 31-year-old victim, but they say last check, she was in critical condition. A benefit is planned for a Fargo motorcycle driver who has a long road to recovery after being hit by a dump truck last week. 25-year-old Dallas Donahue is still at Sanford as he was prepping to go back to surgery today to fix some broken bones. His family says it'll be a marathon, but he remains in stable condition and they will push forward. Donahue has already had multiple surgeries since the crash last Wednesday. A car and bike show planned for him will be on Sunday, this coming Sunday, the 16th, at Shields Arena, parking lot from noon till 4. You can find more information on this story on our website, valleynewslive.com. Today, Russian bombs are targeting Ukrainian cities far beyond the front lines in their war, including the capital city of Kyiv, killing a number of people, leaving thousands without power. Russia says these strikes were retaliation. The U.S. calls it.
President Biden condemned the Russian missile strikes that rained down throughout Ukraine Monday. He said these attacks killed and injured civilians and destroyed targets with no military purpose. They once again demonstrate the utter brutality of Mr. Putin's illegal war on the Ukrainian people. Ukrainian officials say the Russians had two targets in mind: energy infrastructure and people.
The war against civilians. Putin needs Ukraine without Ukrainians.
There were dozens of civilian casualties in the strikes, and Ukraine says at least 11 major energy infrastructure targets were hit. There are now many Ukrainians left without power, water, or heat. The energy targets has raised concerns that Russia will use energy to punish Ukraine and its European allies this winter. President Biden and other leaders of the Group of 7 nations will hold an emergency virtual summit Tuesday to discuss the latest developments in Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin called the strikes a retaliation for this: a bomb exploding on the bridge that connects Crimea with Russia, and in a sign that the war could soon escalate even more. Belarus's president, Alexander Lukashenko, says Russian troops will deploy to his country in large numbers. Russia used Belarus to launch attacks on Kyiv when the war started in February. Skyler Henry, CBS News, the White House.
Coming up on your news at 4, the newest iPhone automatically is calling 911 in a situation where you probably don't want it to. We'll have details still ahead.
And beautiful fall colors still in the forecast for maybe a few more days. Many more areas are at their peak or past their peak. I'll have a look at what you can expect for your leaf viewing forecast tonight and tomorrow right after the break.